Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is your host Carmina coming back at you with another video in the Cards of Truth series, and today it's unfortunately our last video. Yes, it's the King of Diamonds, the one and only King of Diamonds. I'm gonna do this to focus the camera on its pretty face. So we're gonna be looking at the King of Diamonds through the perspective of meanings in the in the manual spread, but also we're going to be looking at the King of Diamonds. Please focus. Oh, there we go. We're going to be looking at the natal spread. We're going to be looking at underlying and overlying cards. So it's going to be quite an in-depth video. And this is the difference between this series and other series, including other card series that I did myself, because I have other tutorials, other card series for beginners, but this is more an in-depth advanced look, okay? And let me mention, if you like this card deck that I designed with the help of a very gifted illustrator, you can go to the description box and see information on how you can order it. I only have like a couple of decks left, so make sure you get yours if you really like it. Also, if you're interested in classes, readings, all that good stuff, you can also check out my website, carmina-anza.com. And one more thing before we get to the King of Diamonds, I know you guys, because I know you guys, you're going to be saying, oh, Carmina, you got glasses. So I have to tell you that I've been having a prescription for glasses since I was 17 years old. I've been wearing glasses on and off because when I was younger, I couldn't find, frames that I liked. And then I wore contact lenses, and then I didn't wear anything, and then glasses again, and then I didn't wear anything. And now, again, I filled my prescription, and I found these nice frames that I liked. So I said, okay, fine. I'm going to wear them every now and then. So with all that being out of the way, let's focus on the King of Diamonds. I wish you could be able to see his face all the time. So the King of Diamonds is the last card of the diamond suit, okay? So it has some weight to it. It has some gravity. It has some connotation of the finishing touch, the final touch. The last, it ain't over until the fat lady sings. It ain't the diamond suit ain't over until the King of Diamonds appears. So, of course, all the kings are associated to the energy of planet Pluto, which is a very intense, very heavy influence. Pluto has been known as the ego basher because it puts you in situations that are very heavy and in situations where you really get a wake-up call and you have to see who you truly are. So this Plutonian energy has a sacrificing connotation, sacrificing what is not genuine, what is not authentic, in order for the person to be genuine. In that note, the King of Diamonds also has this sacrificing energy, as all the kings. When you get into this position, this great position of authority, as all the kings in card spreads are mature people of authority, older people, but not necessarily older, someone who's very deeply and very high ranking with a certain skill. And in this case, it's with diamonds. So it can be a person who reached a high level with their financial success, a person who's made a lot, invested a lot, and developed a lot their financial side of life. And because diamonds are, of course, value represented by finances, represented by land, but it can also be the value of a concrete skill. So somebody who has like a really concrete skill that they can manifest in the world. So the King of Diamonds is somebody who reached that level and is also not afraid to share it, to share that skill with the world. So it can be a person who's very generous, a person who's very charitable, very giving. If the King of Diamonds is reversed, of course, this energy will be a little delayed, a little stuck, a person who's, not sharing their resources, their value as they should. Like this sharing is delayed, it's obstructed, it's not really happening. There's a problem with their generosity, let's say, with the way that they share their skills, their diamonds, their finances with the world. Also, of course, red kings can relate to people with lighter hair and dark kings with darker hair. Usually, it can be a man, but it can also be you in that position, you reaching a high level, you being in a certain situation where you have to act like the King of Diamonds. Okay, what else can we say about the King of Diamonds? If we look at the underlying and overlying cards. Oh, one more thing. All the kings have the energy of the 7, 8, and 9. So they have the energy of Saturn, of eliminating something. Then we have the energy of the nodes, 8 and 9, into embracing, your fate in a way. So kings, in life, the king intervenes only when there's something really serious going on. So also as a card, the king shows up when there's a decisive move to be made, where there's something really important. And moving on to the underlying and overlying card, the underlying card for the King of Diamonds is 3 of Clubs. So what does underlying, overlying mean? If you haven't watched these videos, you don't know, but this is, let's consider the king, the placement in the so-called queen quadration. The underlying card, we consider the placement where the king is, where a card is in the king placement in the jack quadration. And the overlying card is, I'm just going to share my screen to make it less confusing. Just 1 second. Share. Okay, so this is the Cards of Truth software, which shows you something very clearly. So these are the 3 quadrations. The Jack is the natural sequence quadration. The Queen quadration is the first quadration of that Jack quadration. And then there's the King quadration. So you see every card has its placement. The King of Diamonds here, we notice it's right here. So if we look for the King of Diamonds here, let's see, let's look in the Queen quadration first, because that's the birth card that we take into consideration. So we see the King of Diamonds here. If we look in the Jack quadration, in that exact placement, we see the 3 of Clubs. And then if we look in the King quadration, in that same exact spot, we see the 7 of Spades. So that means the underlying energy for the King of Diamonds is the 3 of Clubs. The overlying is the 7 of Spades. So they come from a place of independent thinking, from a place of expansion, and then they're able to share their gifts with the world, their concrete gifts. And from that, they evolve into being realistic. The 7 of Spades is like you're realistic about yourself, realistic about your body, you know that you're immortal. So that's kind of the overlying energy of this King of Diamonds. And before we talk about the birth card and the birth spread, let me share with you the days of the year when the King of Diamonds appears as a birth card. By the way, you can get this free yearly calendar from my website. Other people, I've noticed that they only offer like this calendar in a limited amount, which is kind of crazy because you can get it for free from so many websites, including, you know, my website. So you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to be a member for anything. It's not something exclusive. This is something very public. The year calendar, it's fixed for every year. So the dates are going to be the same no matter the year. But you have to take into consideration sunrise. So you are the birth card, the respective birth card of the day if you are born after sunrise at your place of birth. If you are born on that day but before sunrise, then you are the birth card of the previous day. So the King of Diamonds day in the year are 14th of January, 12th of February, 10th of March, April 8th, May 6th, June 4, July 2nd, and that's it. Those are all the King of Diamonds for the year. So if you're born, for instance, on January 14th before sunrise, then it means you're an Ace of Spades because that's the card of the previous day. So that's how it works. And now let's check out the birth spread for the King of Diamonds, the last one in this series. Getting a little nostalgic, but if you missed them, you can just rewatch them all over again. I organized all the videos in 4 playlists, one for each suit. Okay, so now let's just dive into this chart. So of course, a birth card is not one, you know, isolated piece. It also is very much linked and connected to many other cards, not just the underlying and overlying cards, but also the 13 cards that follow it. So these 7 cards that represent the planets from Sun to Saturn, and the planets that are in these cards in the signs of, you know, whatever of the 12 zodiac signs that you have planets in. We also have the cusps, we have the node cards, we have the ecliptic, which is the path, and it's related to the 10th cusp. And then we also have the outer planets. So there's a big chunk of information that we can extract about a person just by knowing their birth card. So just by knowing if they're born before or after sunrise. We don't even need their exact time, okay? The exact time will only help us position the cusps correctly, will help us position the planets correctly. But even if we know just the birth card alone, then we have like half the picture, which is already a lot. So I'm gonna say again, this is a random chart. I think it's for the 8th of May, 2019. And if you are curious, like what variations are in your chart, you can, you know, pull up your own chart. I think there's on Ernst's website, cardsoftruth.com, there's a free chart calculator there. Yeah, so let's look at that. The King of Diamonds, of course, is a person that's born with, as a diamond, they're born with a sense of value, that they can bring something of concrete value to the world, and also a sense of sacrifice by being a king. If we look at the king, we know that the Pluto card is going to be important, and that's the Queen of Diamonds. So this is something they have to let go of. They have to separate from in order to be a better birth card. So they need to separate a little bit from that, you know, very energetic and very restless, very managing mode, so that they can be a more a more severe, a more decisive person. You know, the Queen of Diamonds is a very good financial manager, but it's not necessarily generous. It depends on other factors in the person's chart, but the King of Diamonds has the tendency of being more generous, of giving away, because the Queen would do more accumulating and the King would do more just, giving it away. So that's what they need to, let go of their idea that they have to be like this, the Queen of Diamonds, or people who are like the Queen of Diamonds or have self-factors in the Queen of Diamonds card will show up in their life and will stimulate that card and will make them realize what is genuine about themselves, like what is true, like, am I really this person, or is this authentic about me regarding finances, regarding sharing my resources? Yes. So let's check out the Sun card. We see a 6 of Hearts here. So the kingdom they are building is one of emotional security, emotional satisfaction. We see the Moon card is a 4 of Clubs. So their early childhood, their upbringing is marked by living in an inspiring home, living in an inspiring environment, a lot of intellectual stimulation. Then the 2 of Diamonds on the Mars card shows how they deal with crisis situations. And there's we don't like to see a 2 in the 3rd position because it's kind of a mismatch. We like to see a 3, a 5, a 7. But a 2 here would show that, okay, the person could have some challenges connecting to something of value, connecting to some job just for the money, connecting to a land, like moving to a land. That's one of these things that can show. And also it shows how they handle crisis situations. And because it's a diamond, it's more like a practical manner, like they try to see how can I make this practical for me? How can I connect to the situation in a practical way? Then the Mercury card describes their friends, describes the way they communicate, they manage their life. So there's kind of like a stressful energy here because of the Jack of Spades, which is kind of a stressed card. Yeah, so it's like, oh, I have to do whatever it takes. There's some kind of urgency feeling in regards to mercurial things in their life, which is friends, which is how they find solutions to things, etc. The Jupiter card is an 8 of Clubs. So this is how they deal with their children. If the King of Diamonds is a woman, it shows something about their spouse. So, or if the King of Diamonds is a man that is attracted to men, because Jupiter is the man in your life. So whatever your preference, whatever your orientation is, the Jupiter will show the man in your life, and Venus will show the woman in your life as a partner. So we see here, we don't really like to see an 8, not because the 8 of Clubs is not a good card, but because its meaning is developed, is refined, is understood over time. It's not something that, you're just born with, you just understand this. This is the energy of being self-validated with your ideas, just doing things because you find them intellectually appealing and not necessarily to please other people with your ideas. So your creativity, your inspiration is more done because you like it. And if this energy is developed correctly, then this person can become a very inspiring teacher for other people because they will be attracted by the self-confidence they have with their ideas. So in relationship to children, their way of handling things is more like on an intellectual level of kind of, they would learn from me, but just by seeing me be that way. So yeah, it can be a little troublesome, especially when the person is in the first part of their life. They haven't had their notes maturation yet. The Venus card is the 6 of Diamonds. So that's a really nice card to have on the Venus placement because the 6s all very well resonate to the Venusian energy. And the 6 of Diamonds is like satisfaction with the things of the earth, with material things, with concrete skills. And it can also be a very psychic card. It can be a very intuitive card. So If the King of Diamonds is attracted to women, then, but even if it's not, because the Venus card is relationship for everyone, but it's even more important for men in relationships because Venus is the spouse as a woman. So they would be attracted to beautiful looking persons, because diamonds are always also about the shine of things, like the physical layer of things. So they would be attracted by very good looking women, they would be attracted by intuitive women. That's some of the things. And yeah, and in relationships they would feel comfortable, they would like to be in relationships. They're not necessarily the loner type, unless they have like all the rest of their planets in this Jack of Spades, which would create some conflict. Then the Saturn card is how these people deal with long-term grief, with chronic situations, and also what they are in service to. So they're in service to the Four of Spades, of trying to balance out their health. It's not nice to have a 4 on the 7th placement, so that can show some health issues. Also depends on the other placements, but it can show some struggling to find a balance with physical and psychological health. And then we look at the nodes, we see 2 tens. So we move from the financial rewards to the more popularity rewards. I think Brad Pitt is a King of Diamonds, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, one of the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie is a King of Diamonds. I think he's a King of Diamonds. So one of the things they need to learn in this life is to enjoy the popularity rewards, to enjoy the support they get from their environment. Very nice card to have there. The path, well, this is a path that is quite introspective, because the Eight of Spades relates to the Chariot in tarot. The Eight of Clubs also relates to the Chariot, but the Eight of Clubs is more like traveling, like air travel, conferences. And the Eight of Spades is more like the inward travel, where you just explore yourself in some maybe meditation, some stillness, to see who you are, what you're doing in this life, how you want to develop. So meditation would be a lot in their path in this life, like inner exploration. So yeah, King of Diamonds people would be drawn to that. The Uranus card, Ace of Hearts, they can bring something new, like a new feeling to people. They can bring, something beautiful, something people love. The Ace of Diamonds on the Neptune card is when they find a new plot of land or a new concrete potential for a skill, or something new and concrete. That's where they bond to the world on a deeper level, and it also has a spiritual connotation for them, like this newness and this concreteness. They can see it very spiritually. And the Pluto card, the nice Queen of Diamonds, there we already discussed. So guys, that's about it. We are finished with the cards. Check out the playlist to see the meaning of each and every one of these 52 playing cards. If you love this deck, make sure you order one from my website, carmina-amza.com, or by clicking the link in the description box. Also, if you're a beginner and if all of this is confusing for you, I have more simple videos for beginners in the meaning of the cards and the suits. And I'll see you guys again soon. I'll be doing more spread examples. I'll be doing more examples of looking at people's charts. And yeah, while I'm working on my new card deck, we can also be looking at other card decks like Lenormand, because I like it more than tarot. So we'll be doing that. We have so many topics to explore, so don't worry. There's always something new to learn. Okay, guys, it's been lovely presenting this series for you. I hope you enjoyed it. let me know in the description box if you're a King of Diamonds or if you have this kind of energy around you. I'll see you again soon. Bye.